Freedman with ABC News. There's been more bloodshed in the Somali capital, Mogadishu, where UN troops have opened fire as a crowd of demonstrators approached their building. North Africa correspondent James Schofield reports that among the 9 people left dead or wounded were women and a child.
Pakistani troops on a nearby rooftop opened fire with a long burst of automatic weapon and machine gun fire. When it was all over, bodies littered the street below. Journalist Paul Watson was among the demonstrators when the firing started.
They not only fired from the roof, some were firing at the demonstrators, obviously, but they fired at people hiding behind a pickup truck.
Did these people pose any threat to the Pakistani soldiers?
None whatsoever. They're children. They obviously have no weapons. They were afraid of the demonstration themselves.
The Pakistanis say some shots were fired at them first, a claim backed up by a Somali witness. Whatever the provocations, the troops were clearly drawn into indiscriminate automatic weapon fire. An action bound to fuel tensions already rising sharply. James Schofield, Mogadishu.
A spokesman for UN forces in Bosnia says Sarajevo Airport has been closed after shells fell near the runway. Canadian Naval Commander Barrie Freedman says flights are suspended until further notice. The Prime Minister has urged the Labour movement to get behind the cause of Aboriginal Australia. Speaking at the New South Wales ALP conference in Sydney, Mr Keating accused Labour's Conservative opponents of grudgingly accepting the High Court's Mabo decision. He said, with one or two very honourable exceptions, the Conservatives had played the role of national spoilers on the issue. Mr Keating said the Mabo decision heralded a unique opportunity for reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians.
The Mabo judgment does provide the best chance yet of finding an enduring and just basis for reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. It's the classic evener up. Finding the way to reconciliation has always been, in a sense, a Labor ambition, and it must remain one of Labor's ambitions.
National Party leader Tim Fischer has attacked the Prime Minister over his stance on the Mabo issue, which he says has led to a series of ambit Aboriginal land claims. Mr Fischer is calling for the validation of existing freehold title and leasehold title. He wants a new approach to Mabo in an effort to resolve the issue, which he says has caused so much friction and confusion.
It's back to square one following the collapse of the Melbourne talks. We need a more cautious, careful but comprehensive approach, especially from the Prime Minister, who has raised expectations far too high, which has engendered these sweeping ambit land claims.
Queensland Liberals are pushing for a national merger of the Conservative parties within 2 years. The Rand Downer reports the Liberal State Convention has passed a resolution seeking unity with the Nationals.
An original resolution called for the Liberals to move immediately to amalgamate with the Nationals, but an amendment sought in principle support for a united Australia-wide party and asked the Liberals' federal executive to start talks with the Nationals with a view to merging within 2 years. This was seconded by State Liberal leader Joan Sheldon and won the support of prominent party member Sally Ann Atkinson. But there were passionate arguments against amalgamation. Some speakers highlighted philosophical differences between the party. One recalled the excesses of the Bjelke-Petersen regime and another objected to the time frame. The amended resolution was carried.
South Africa's President F.W. de Klerk says future presidents will be greatly restricted in their powers to take decisions alone. He says fundamental decisions under South Africa's next government will be made by leaders of the major parties, as Ross Dunn reports from Johannesburg.
In an interview with the Johannesburg-based Sunday Times newspaper, Mr. de Klerk mapped out how the country would be governed after the first all-race elections. He says the country's next president would not be allowed to make fundamental decisions without the agreement of an executive committee or inner cabinet of both white and black leaders. Mr. de Klerk says he is confident that his party will win enough support to make him one of the leaders of the committee. He says one of the inner cabinet's first tasks would be to agree on a Magna Carta laying down priorities for the next 5 years. Ross Dunn, Johannesburg.
The Pakistan government today starts its first direct talks with the opposition Pakistan People's Party of Benazir Bhutto, trying to resolve a political crisis. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif says he's prepared to discuss opposition demands for early general elections. The president dismissed Mr. Sharif 2 months ago, but was subsequently overruled by the Supreme Court. ABC News.
I feel like there's a death at the age, but there's a resurrection at the Herald Sun. South Bank is clearly going well, isn't it?
Well, it is. We should really go ahead with the museum project as it is.
surely for unemployment, it's almost impossible to see anything good happening for a very long time.
Well, yes, I think that's right, unfortunately.
What is going to happen with the Camberwell City Council?
Well, next week we will be confirming the announcement of an administrator.
Join Ranald McDonald weekday mornings on 774 3LO Melbourne.
Barrie Freedman with ABC News. The Somali capital Mogadishu has seen more violence, with UN troops firing on demonstrators who approached their building. North Africa correspondent James Schofield reports that women and a child were among at least 9 people left dead or wounded.
Pakistani troops on a nearby rooftop opened fire with a long burst of automatic weapon and machine gun fire. When it was all over, bodies littered the street below. Journalist Paul Watson was among the demonstrators when the firing started.
They not only fired from the roof, some were firing at the demonstrators, obviously, but they fired at people hiding behind a pickup truck.
Did these people pose any threat to the Pakistani soldiers?
None whatsoever. They're children. They obviously have no weapons. They were afraid of the demonstration themselves.
The Pakistanis say some shots were fired at them first, a claim backed up by a Somali witness. Whatever the provocation, the troops were clearly drawn into indiscriminate automatic weapon fire. An action bound to fuel tensions already rising sharply. James Schofield, Mogadishu.
In Iraq, 9 people are reported killed by gunfire in celebrations after the national soccer side beat China in a World Cup match. The Al Jumhuriyah newspaper says more than 120 others were wounded by gunfire after the qualifying match late last month. Iraq's Under-Secretary of State for Health, Chawi Sabri, who described the shootings as non-civilized acts, said many people were still in critical condition in hospital. China says it would be wrong to set up a world body on human rights, and that some countries are using the issue to force their political values on others. The People's Daily said forming a body to be above the nations would jeopardize modern international law and break up the international community. The article, a day before the opening of the World Conference on Human Rights in Vienna, was apparently aimed against a proposal to form a United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. The People's Daily paid special attention to the United States, calling it a loudspeaker of human rights. It said a person's right to survive and a country's right to develop were the most fundamental human rights. Meanwhile, South Africa has rejected a United Nations invitation to attend the Vienna Conference on Human Rights. Ross Dunn in Johannesburg says the offer by Boutros Ghali to participate in the meeting was rejected by Foreign Minister Pik Botha.
Mr. Botha says it would be premature to attend the conference because South Africa is still barred from taking part in the activities of the UN's General Assembly. He says when South Africa's status had been upgraded, it would be able to participate in such meetings without becoming embroiled in a controversy. Mr. Botha, however, called on the advanced industrial democracies to display sensitivity for the problems facing developing countries in order that consensus could be achieved on human rights issues. Ross Dunn, Johannesburg.
The Queensland Liberal Party president says a merger of the 2 Conservative parties must be Australia-wide. The Liberal State Convention on the Gold Coast has endorsed the idea of merger at a national level within 2 years. Paul Everingham says that position reflects the experiences of the Conservative parties in Victoria and Western Australia.
But I believe it's got to happen on an Australia-wide level, otherwise it simply won't work. It'll be a cheap, quick, nasty fix that will probably only last a few years.
England has announced its team for the 2nd cricket test against Australia at Lord's. Neville Oliver says the England selectors have shown a degree of complacency that will surprise many.
Philip De Freitas has been replaced by Essex paceman Neil Fuster in the only change. The team is Gooch captain, Atherton, Gatting, Smith, Hick, Stewart, Lewis, Carrick, Foster, Such, Tufnell and Eilert. The Australian wicketkeeper Ian Healy has a badly bruised right thumb and will have a precautionary x-ray today to ensure there's no break. Meanwhile, the Australians have wrapped up Gloucestershire's first innings for 211 after they resumed this morning at 7 for 183. Shane Warne finished with 5 for 61 and Merv Hughes 4 for 27. Neville Oliver, Bristol.
Australia's Brian Jones has won the Sapporo Tokyo Golf Tournament, his first big victory in Japan in 3 years. As Mark Bowling reports, Jones finished 12 under par and won by 3 strokes.
41-year-old Jones completed 72 holes in 274 for his 12th victory in Japan. Jones's win was worth more than $200,000.
He's now in third place on the money winners list of the current Japanese Professional Golf Association Tour. Mark Bowling, Tokyo.
This is ABC News.
This is Neville Oliver inviting you to relive the past and revel in the present as Australia takes on England for 6 Ashes tests for one-dayers out of the way. So can Gooch's Englishmen bounce back from their 3-0 drubbing, or will Australia dominate the old enemy? Get your special ABC Ashes card from your nearest ABC shop or centre, and you can win great prizes as the Ashes series unfolds. Hear every ball, every exciting moment, live and direct on 774 3LO Melbourne.